This meeting is
Hey.
hooray.
Okay, got it. It could be filled. Okay, so I'm gonna mute my end.
Thank you so much. All right. We are calling our evenings committee meeting to order. Welcome to the February 13th Community Engagement and Communications Committee meeting. We will start with introductions. I see David first.
Hi, I'm David Warner. I'm a member of the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you. And Larry?
I'm Larry Lefkowitz. I'm the treasurer of the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund.
Okay, thank you. And Samantha?
Hi there, Samantha Ives, parent PTA member.
All right. So the first item on our agenda for the evening is to adopt our January 14th, 2023 meeting. So I am going to share my screen and pull that up. Why is it not showing up? I'm sorry, it's not showing up here for some reason. Give me a second. Here we go. All right, can everybody? All right, perfect. All right, I'm not gonna read through everything. I'm gonna just go, kind of slowly through. And if anybody sees anything that they feel like needs to be changed, adjusted, or added, they can let us know. Let me know. Anyone see anything that should be changed or adjusted?
If you're in there adjusting bullet point about 2/3 of the way down, second to last page, you have a reference to wise that is lowercase right above you, right above your cursor. There, end of that sentence. Thank you.
Okay, I move that we adopt our.
Do we have an adjournment time?
I did not add an adjournment time.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I move that we adopt our January 14th, 2023 meeting minutes. All in favor?
Second.
Yeah, I was going to say aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion?
While we're talking, and I promise with one ear out, I will look at the website to give you a end time on the recording, and you can add the adjournment to the thing. I'll put it in the chat when I find it.
Okay, then aye.
Okay, perfect. So
wait,
wait,
if I could figure it out, but I can't. Okay.
So wait, do we need to wait until the end, or can I?
I think we can adopt it. I think for David, tell me if I'm wrong. I think we can adopt it pending edit. Yes.
We can adopt it as is, and then we can amend it later. That's what we can do.
Okay.
So if we find that number, we amend it later. And you just throw it on and tack it on to the next meeting.
Okay.
Get ADJ time for.
Okay. The minutes are adopted, and we will potentially amend later. So the next portion of our meeting will be our Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund discussion. Larry, you can go ahead and take it away.
I'm operating on the assumption that everybody here knows what the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund is.
Well,
Let me-
actually, if it's not, so this is out on YouTube and people might come watch it later. So if you can,
We've
share.
never heard of it before.
Okay. The Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund is a fund that was established more than 50 years ago by members of the community to assist Woodlands seniors who are going on to higher education. The fund interviews graduating seniors every year, and then based upon need, and solely based upon need, determined by an independent evaluator, the fund gives scholarships to students. Over the course of its existence, more than 50 years, the fund has given away more than $1.5 million to graduating seniors at Woodlands. And the fund is actually involved in the community in two ways. First, the way giving away money, and secondly, raising money. And the raising of the money comes from the establishment of memorial awards by relatives and friends of people who have passed on, or in honor of people who are still alive. And the fund also raises money through an annual appeal at the end of the year, a mailing. And every year for many years, but not during the pandemic, the fund has had a flea market and crafts fair, which for many years was actually in the hall of the Woodlands High School, and in recent years has been on Richard Presser Field on Central Avenue. And it's always the week before Mother's Day. So the fund in the beginning had many, many trustees, as many as 40. Like all other things in the district, it's shrunk in terms of participation. And today it has 7 or 8 active trustees. And its endowment is pretty good. It's a little south of $400,000. And last year we gave away $35,000 to 23 graduating seniors. The largest award was about $2,000. And those who had adequate means or going to schools that were practically not expensive at all, based upon those criteria, could get as little as $200. But the average was somewhere in the middle. So there are some issues which I think the community needs to address regarding the relationship between the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund and the school district. We regard the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund as being part of the school district. It was founded actually by a chairman of the board of the district many years ago. And we've had a lot of support over the years. And the involvement, however, has somehow deteriorated. I think that's probably a bad word, but last year there were probably 115 or so graduates in the senior class. The guidance counselors sent out a lot of information about the fund. We also sent out emails and so on. Notwithstanding the fact that there were 115, only 23 applied, and we can't figure it out. We spoke to the superintendent, she can't figure it out. And the feeling is that these kids are very involved in so many things in their lives that, notwithstanding the fact that the guidance counselors tell them about this and they get an email and so on and so forth, many of them just skip it. And many of them could use the money. So we don't really know what to do. We're trying as hard as we can to expand the group. We're willing to even give away more money. So that's one issue. The second issue is the annual flea market and crafts fair that's held the week before Mother's Day on the field. Historically, the school district has supported that On Friday evening in the teachers' lounge, we gather donations of fleas from the community. People give away stuff they don't need anymore. And historically, one of the custodians in the school district has come and loaded up one of the trucks from the school district, and on Saturday morning has driven it over to Webb Field, and we've unloaded it, and then at the end of the day, the custodian has driven it back. Last year, that didn't happen. What happened is, to our surprise, the school district would not provide anybody because they said that unfortunately there were no other events on Saturday last year, and they weren't going to pay time and a half to a custodian who wouldn't otherwise be there. So the result was the scholarship fund had to, in a hurry, rent a truck, and two of us loaded everything and took it over and brought it back. This year, we've been in discussions with the superintendent, and apparently we're going to have the same situation. And if there's a rain date, if it rains on Saturday, it's pretty certain that the school district will not assist the scholarship fund. So we're in continued discussions with the superintendent about that. And we're not even certain if there will be a crafts fair and so on in view of everything that's going on. But basically, those are the outstanding issues between the scholarship fund, which after all is part of the school district, and the administration. The community ought to be aware of it. It's not exactly tense, I would say. It's in discussion. But we're continuing to raise money, and we're continuing to give as much money as we can to graduating seniors. We hope that more will apply. And we really don't know at this point how we get greater participation from the senior class. Maybe the members of the committee could help us with that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. Does anybody have anything they would like to say? I have some thoughts, but I will yield the floor.
I'm thinking that, well, all right, I'm having difficulty because certain things can only be talked about if they're in open session, and certain things, right? So, I mean, the gist of the thing is, there are some legal issues because you're a separate 501(c)(3) organization. I'm thinking that the cleanest way to get past this is to recommend that the Community Engagement Committee have an outreach event that happens to coincide with the time and date of the flea market that's been scheduled, and then you could co-sponsor it with us, and if you I mean you're paying for the field, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then we could invite people. I mean, there's no problem if other groups came too, right?
Well, David, the Key Club comes every year.
Okay.
And they sell coffee and donuts at the fair.
Okay, and so if the CEC had a table and we had some flyers that tell people about the wonders of our district, no fooling, we're here to talk schooling. We could do that too. And then if it's an event that's sponsored by the CEC and the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund, then we can have tables. Dr. Iverson wants to come in.
I just added her, and I'll give her a quick, understanding of where we are.
May I respond to
Sure.
that? I see a slippery slope.
Can I just set the
Okay.
set the table really quick?
Please do. Hello, Dr.
guys.
Iverson.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Iverson? Just wanted to give you a quick heads up on where we are with things. We adopted last month's meeting minutes, and Larry just kind of went over giving everybody an explanation of the scholarship fund and some of the things that we've discussed around ways that things worked before versus the ways that things are working now, and we're being careful about you know, what we can, you know, communicate it at this point. David just kind of shared the idea of having, you know, a community engagement committee type event that ties the two together. And Samantha is about to speak about this.
I see a slippery slope. I see a slippery slope and an opportunity. So I was just in a meeting, we were discussing puzzle pieces. No, I work with someone who refuses to say the word problem. He calls it a situation that requires a solution. I got a situation. So here's my thinking, listening to you speak. If you are an independent 501c3 working in partnership with the district for the benefit of our children, you are equivalent to the PTA. And the PTA is extremely limited. With all the good we do, we also try very hard not to use school or district resources, because the whole point is that those are for the kids and they're in the budget. It's all very official. The budget is accountable to the taxpayers. We don't want to get in the way of that. Now, obviously there are places for partnership, and that's the slippery slope, is that if I love the work you do, Larry, and I want to do everything we can to support it as a parent. I have little ones coming up who I hope will take advantage of the scholarships. The work you do is incredible. If the district gets in the habit of finding a loophole to pay for partnerships that with our partner 501c3, we have a lot of PTAs in the district. They have a lot of events. At what point do you stop? At what point do you draw that line? At what point do you no longer, you know, like when we move things from one school to another for a PTA event, we need PTA volunteers to volunteer a truck and some people and go pick it up. Even if it's on loan from one school to another, we're not going to ask for the human resources to make that happen. It's not that it shouldn't happen. It's where do you say yes and where do you say no as a matter of course, right? Because we don't want to take resources from the kids, period.
So, sorry.
But no, go. I'll wrap up my thought. So that's the slippery slope, but the opportunity, this is the requires a solution part. The opportunity is that PTA works very, very hard to establish partnerships. We have reciprocal partnerships, we have reciprocal events, we have community outreach and community organization. So maybe where this committee comes in is less, let's find a loophole and make it happen with money, than let's figure out how to activate the community. The Key Club is there to raise money. I know they are really good at lending hands to load trucks. I've had them do it and they're amazing. You know, there are partnerships that can be built here that strengthen all of our groups inside the district without taking resources where they're not generously offered. And I'd like this committee to look more at that than at workarounds.
So your preference is that we go rent a truck and help them load it?
Whose
as
preference?
Individual people or PTA members or something other than as official district folk?
Well, I do think, I'm not quite sure, but I do want to clarify that with all of the good intention and all of the positive energy that flows into this district, we are better for collaborating. So if the scholarship fund needs something, call the Key Club, call the PTA, call we are all so good at making magic happen that we should find ways to partner rather than work around.
So one question I have quickly, Larry, like how much stuff are we talking about? How much stuff are we what do we normally see from, you know, is this is a U-Haul truck kind of size thing? Like,
yeah, it is. It's a U-Haul size truck that the district already has. And we're talking about a handful of tables and chairs that we need to put stuff on that the district already has. Like the tables that you have in the lunchroom, for instance, there are some of those around, a lot of chairs. We don't need very many chairs, just a handful of chairs. They go into the truck and then the fleas are added into the truck. And it's brought over on Friday night and or Saturday morning very early and brought back at the end of the event on Saturday. One little glitch is that if it rains on Saturday, then it has to be moved to Sunday. And that is a problem, of course, because no one is at the school on Sunday.
So what
So-
size truck are we talking about?
It's you probably can see it. It's like a box truck.
And Dr. Iverson, I know you're not a lawyer, but I will just, maybe you do know the answer to this. What, if anything, is the legality of them using the chairs and tables and stuff? You know, if we were not in a situation where there was a requirement for a custodian.
I don't know the answer. I think that's something we need to yield back to discussion with council. I don't have that answer. I've talked to the fund as I talked to the board, and these are the details that need to be worked out. I don't really know the legality. I just know what I quoted to the board and in our discussion.
Right.
Got it.
So what
And
we
let me
have is that we don't need to have anybody pay for the tables, but we do need to worry about the labor.
And we have to
And the
assure,
truck.
and we gotta assure we can get people who will work on those weekends, especially if something's moved to Sunday, we got to, there's no guarantee we'll get people to work.
So, I mean, I actually do love everything that Samantha had to say. The idea that we rally, this community, we engage, we do what our charge and our charter is, and so moving in that direction, perhaps that is what will ultimately make the most sense. It sounds like we do have to at least ask some additional questions of council. Yeah, well, I mean, what are your thoughts there, Larry?
Yeah,
Like,
First of all, the loading of the trucks is done already by the members of the Key Club and some of the members of the Scholarship Fund, and has been done. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years, and there's never been an issue with the tables and chairs and loading of the truck. The issue is the involvement of school district personnel, if perhaps there's no other reason for them to be there at that time, because they have to be paid. And that means using district money that wouldn't otherwise be expended. As I see it, that's the only issue. Everything else has been going on for I don't know, 40 years or something like that. We used to have the flea market in the hall. I don't know, those of you who've been around a long time, used to be in the hall of the high school. All right, we moved it, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, outside to Webfield.
and what's the date on the event again, Larry?
It's May 5th and 6th. It's the weekend before Mother's Day.
So we don't have a long time to make this decision, but we do still have an opportunity to talk to council and come up with some firm decisions around this. The other piece that's obviously important here is what we talked about in terms of engagement and how to get maximum engagement around the event. Some thoughts that popped into my mind, and I don't know whether these things have been done already or not, but perhaps we can engage student government in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Maybe young people have some stuff they want to get rid of. Maybe they want to, in their parents' house, there's stuff that, like, Ma, we need to throw this out, and we've been needing to throw it out, and what I mean. Maybe we can get that kind of thing going on and make make a game of it, make it fun by having young people involved. That's something that popped in my head. I'm not sure if anybody else has a thought on that or any other potential.
Yeah. But those are all possibilities. It would take some time to coordinate all of that, and but those are possibilities. We certainly, we can. That's what I would say, is that those are possibilities. Yes.
You may get a little more traction with your applicants if you get them involved in the flea market. And I'm also wondering, as a condition of the scholarship reward, are they requested or required to submit any kind of thank you or formal recognition that they've received it And the reason I'm thinking that is because if part of the condition or request is to do a video thank you that goes on the website or is shared socially, that may also raise awareness for the students.
That's an excellent idea, but we don't require any thank you. What we do require is their bursar's receipt or other evidence that they're actually attending school. That's all.
And do you get that information? Is it by the first semester they submit something to you to show that they are doing well in school and actually enroll?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't send them any money until they prove to us that they're actually attending.
So that's like after the first semester or by October?
We give them half of the award in the first semester and the second half in the second semester.
Okay. I know it
Both
was
times
something
they
like
have
that.
to give us proof of attendance.
Okay.
Yeah, again, another really good idea from Samantha. Excuse me. And if it's not a requirement, an encouragement. You know what I mean? So something that gratitude is always a good thing to
Yes.
to send. And perhaps what that does is when we're having this conversation now, as people walk past, it's on some video screen somewhere. Oh man, I got a bunch of money. Woodlands Scholarship Association. Just something that that other folks can see that will encourage them to to look to get help, because who doesn't want
we certainly can try to do that. Right now we have some participation issues because, as I said, last year we only got 23 out of about 115 students, notwithstanding the fact that information went home for them, notwithstanding the fact that the guidance counselors have pushed them to apply.
Yeah.
Something is going on. I think they're busy doing other things. And it's a shame because we have the money available. We would love to give it to them, but they're not applying. So, that similarly, if we ask them to do a video thanking us, we can do that. But again, they're busy. And I don't know whether or not they'll do it. That's fine. But right now, we just like to get them to apply for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How plugged in
Okay,
are our
so,
students to our district social media?
I'm thinking here that I'm a liaison to the PTA council, and that going back to the other problem, that I should go and I can ask all the PTA units at once for assistance. And the question is, what kind of assistance should I be asking for? If the Key Club already unloads and loads the trucks, are we looking for somebody to help rent the truck? What do we need? Or do we want to recruit more people for the Woodlands High School Scholarship Fund, and have more active members, and then there'll be more hands to do things and take care of these things?
The district already has the truck.
But if we were to look for an option that didn't include using the district's truck, what would that look like?
Well, we would be, and somebody would end up spending hundreds of dollars to rent a truck for the weekend.
Is it like a contract? I'm sorry, I can't picture. Is it like a contractor truck, or is it like a big Ford F-150?
It's like a box truck, a U-Haul box.
A pickup truck, like a pickup.
We did it. We couldn't arrange it last year, and we did it. All right. The president of the fund and I, who have an accumulated age of about 150, went out and rented the truck and loaded it and so on. We loaded it with the tables and chairs from the school district. And then we also loaded, with the assistance of the Key Club, we loaded the donated materials onto the truck. And it was kept in my driveway overnight on Friday night, and Saturday morning we drove it over to the fair. But, the result was that the expense, putting aside the inconvenience at work, the expense of renting the truck, came to, I don't know, something like 8% of the total revenues of the entire affair. All right. So, that's a kink.
We definitely understand, but I also do understand, everything that Samantha said as well. So we're not going to get a firm, anything, here. So I'll ask if anybody else has any additional, thoughts, ideas that we want to share at this point. And outside of that, we'll wind up getting back to you, Larry, on what we believe the best way to move forward is.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So thank you for being here, Larry. You can hang out with us if
Sure.
you like. Otherwise, again, we'll talk to you soon.
No, thank you again. I'm going to leave. All right.
All right. Have a good night.
Nice seeing you again.
Right. Nice seeing you. Bye-bye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is communication policy discussion. We did have some communication the other night at last week at the board meeting.
Yeah.
Around our communication policy. It was asked that we kind of brought up here some of the things that we discussed, and in order to bring that back to the folks in the government and policy committee, so that they can then make some decisions around how where this policy is going to look. I should have had it. I don't know. Does anybody have the policy easily available to quickly read off what's in the policy? I know it was pretty short. I don't have it. And David,
Can you give me the number of the policy?
was it 40? Hold on. I have it right here. 31. It's 3110.
Yes, that's I wish I just left a policy meeting and put the folder on my desk, but it is 3110.
So David, what do you just quickly look it up on board doc?
Education, yeah, that's what we do. We go.
It says community involvement and engagement. I think it's just community involvement, 3110.
Policies, 3110, media, municipal governments and senior
Oh, that's what that
citizens,
is.
3110, or community involvement, 3111.
Both of those.
Yeah, but there was.
All right, I have 3111 in front of me. Do you, the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education believes that there must be a planned, comprehensive, year-round community relations program to assure full appreciation of the educational program and to encourage the sharing of ideas for the betterment of the school system. And the superintendent of schools, with the Board of Education approval, is authorized to establish, through the use of various media, a community relations program, which will keep the Board of Education in touch with public opinion in relation to the schools and school policy, and encourage citizens to become involved in school affairs and to share their opinions and ideas with the Board of Education.
So
That's what it says.
Thank you, David. The part that where it felt like there was a question towards the tail end was how specific we wanted to get with anything additional to add to it. And I guess I asked the question around. So when I'm communicating to the community engagement committee, should that be something that I'm doing out of an email address, email list that I have, or should that be something that is moving through whatever the process that we're talking about here for the district, so that the district would be looking at whatever I'm going to send ahead of time before it goes out to folks. And so I guess I'll open it up to the floor to kind of get a gauge of what preferences we might have around that.
I'm
Say it again.
curious about what I read this and my mind goes to broadcasting the meetings on YouTube, all the different things on the YouTube channel, the weekly newsletters that go out, the printed quarterly community-wide mailings. What needs to change or be what's not grounded in here that needs to be grounded? Because I don't see a hole.
The answer may be like that there is no hole. We at the tail end of that conversation, we were asked to kind of, let's bring this up in this meeting and see if there was anything that we would want to bring back before the government and policy committees firm this up as our 2023 policy, and yeah, just whether this will be what winds up getting updated.
And remember that the flow chart that I shared, I think a meeting or so ago, you know, that we use, Ms. Ives and the board members, of course, know, and you know very well, Trustee Warner as well, around where we start a policy, when we're ready to update or revise or change it, you know, we go through Erie One BOCES, who is the, whom we have a, you know, a partnership and a contract with, like most districts. They have a policy review section there that they, on a regular basis, update and look at policies, because all districts in the state of New York have really some of the same numbers for some of the same names of policies. So we started there. So what you have here has gone through Erie One BOCES. So in terms of, and so now it's coming back, and they had no changes. If there were changes, what happens? We redline those changes. We put it, you know, next to, and it travels through the administration. Then it goes to the board, goes to council. Council's looked at this, so, and then it goes to the board. Then it's coming, and then this is where we are now. So no, Ms. Ives, that several people have put their eyes on this and have had no changes. It's in the flow now where they're asking, we're asking Trustee Thomas to bring it to this body to see, when you read it like you're doing now, anyone else on the call, what they would like to see. Is there something missing? It's just giving the public an opportunity to put their eyes on it. And this is the committee, it should come through.
Sure. Thank you for that. That's very clarifying. I would like to put out there for anyone who may be watching, just to have it on record that
Anyone else on the call?
that what I do like about this is that it is broad. I think any of us in this committee can talk at length about ways to fine tune it, and we have. But as a policy, you don't want it so fine tuned that it becomes restrictive. For my opinion, I don't see any changes.
We just need a plan to implement it. We don't need to change the scope. The most important thing about this is that it's two-way communication, right? That it's not just us broadcasting to the community, it's also the community getting involved and sharing their opinions and ideas with the board as well. And if we have that, then I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we will. I'll share this, portion of the conversation with Trustee Vallon, so that when they sit down for the governmental and policy relations, they'll know the thoughts of this committee.
Do we need 3110 or are we good?
While we're at it, let's take a look at 3110 as well. The principal of each building is responsible for the preparation of news releases concerning the activities within the building and for reviewing them with the superintendent prior to release. Copies of all final news releases will be sent to the superintendent's office. In addition, a periodic newsletter may be prepared and mailed to each resident of the school district. Included in the newsletter will be information regarding school activities, a monthly calendar, and other items of interest to the community. The board accepts the funding obligation for the necessary staff and production costs. As the official spokesperson, the superintendent or his or her designee shall issue all news releases concerning the district. All statements of the board will be released through the board president. Municipal governments. It is a policy of the board to establish and maintain a positive working relationship with the governing bodies of the municipality. The board shall also cooperate with municipal, county, and state agencies whose work affects the welfare of the children of the district, including but not limited to the county social services department, the board of health, the recreation department, the public library, and all community emergency service agencies. The Board of Education will consider school-related programs for senior citizens in accordance with education law and/or regulation of the Commissioner of Education. Such programs whose special use of school buildings or school buses, school lunches, and partial tax exemptions. So this also was adopted on July 3rd, 2012. Do we know what were there any changes on this one for
yes, there were some red lines on this that traveled through the process. This is the original. So there were very minor tweaks because much of this we still do. In fact, I just text Ivy to say, can you just email me this version with the red lines through it so I can just show you where everyone both sees strengthened some language, took out some, nothing major changed here, but when it traveled to the administrators, we agreed with this. And then council put her stamp of approval on it, and it's now at the same state where we're weighing in with the public, and the board has looked at it as well. So I shared this one with the governance and policy committee. So they've looked at it and now it's moving here. So if you give me a second, let's see if Ivy can pull it up and send it to me and I can share it and show you what was redlined. But yes, this one was pretty much in shape.
Okay.
So
Okay.
was there something about the board president being responsible for distributing all statements and that had changed in some way?
Yeah, and I'm afraid to say, I don't want to quote until I see it because there was a little slight, some changes there. So let me see if I can get it and share it. But yes, so I won't quote wrong.
I think it wasn't wasn't it on the agenda for?
Yeah, it was one.
It would have been in the board packet, right?
I think it was on the agenda. Yes.
I'm
There were about
looking-
4 policies on the agenda. I think this was one, but
I'm just going back to look for
so
it.
here's Ivy.
You look.
Ivy's probably way faster than me.
She's saying, okay, she's going to look at it and send it.
I know
Okay.
I can't get into it because I'm not logged in.
But the one you have won't have the red lines in it.
Even the one so the red lines were not in the board packet.
David, you're still sharing your screen.
I know,
Before you
but
type a
the
password.
password is not.
Let's,
Okay.
let me just see.
I don't see it here.
Ivy's going to share it.
Okay.
Go
You got
ahead.
a sec? You got a second? Give
I'm
me a
gonna
second.
stop sharing so you can.
Okay.
No, but she does. But it
She's-
doesn't. You don't have it yet.
No, she's coming. Just give us a second.
Okay, no problem. So we'll come back to this.
Okay, come back.
Yeah. So the next thing up is any superintendent updates. So if you want to share anything else that you have to share, we can do that.
May I ask before Dr. Iverson is ready, as we're updating these documents, I know it's from 2012, is BOCES, is the his, her changing to there? That would be more timely and appropriate and future-proof us for the next 10 years.
That is a good question.
We don't have to answer that now, but it'd be nice to have eyes on it.
So she's going to share, and so on 311, on community involvement, she just confirmed there were no changes made by everyone BOCES. That is the most current version, what you're looking at. So we're right on target with that.
And I don't know if you know the answer to this. Samantha just asked a question around. Well, I guess we'll see when as soon as it comes. So, Dr. Iverson, while we wait for that, are there any other updates that you have? Superintendent updates? You're on mute.
Okay, so when Ivy, let me see if I can share this with you. Where did I?
I don't know if you're gonna be able to.
We'll find out in a second.
Man, sharing.
Well, there's an option.
I just changed it to
Allow
all
anybody to share.
participants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, you will be able to share.
okay. I have a document here. Not that. Yes. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me see. How do I do this? I have it here, so I'm going to go to share. All right. So Ivy, let me know when you have it. Just text me.
I emailed you the attachment, but Jamal can also grab the policy from the website.
You heard that? Okay, we'll figure it out. Either one.
If you go to board docs
So
on the Board of Education page,
So
You can go to board policy. It's in the middle of the screen. Under board policies, click on board policy and then search for or drop down on your active policies. You can just look under 3, which is community relations, and then open up 3111 and everyone can see it. It's available to the public.
So I don't know if Ivy can hear. Can you hear me, Ivy?
Yes, she can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so we actually just looked at that. What we were trying to take a look at was it sounds like there were some slight red lines to 3111, and so we were just
Yes,
trying to look
I can let you know what they are because I'm having difficulty sharing the screen
Yeah, that's fine.
or
Just
plugging in. So if you just give me one moment,
no worries.
let me just get into it and I can let you know. It was very
I have
very
it.
minor.
Trustee Warner says he has it, so he can share it after
Let me see
this.
what I can do here. Just a
Okay,
second.
so you want to share after I finish this, Trustee Warner? Hold it.
No, if Dr. Iverson, if you could stop sharing,
Okay.
David will share again, and then we'll just go to wherever the red line is so that we
Okay.
can communicate that.
All right.
So let's
Ivy, I think Trustee Warner can pull it up. 1 second.
just a minute. Let me make sure I get the right. So it's gonna have the gray. I think this is it.
Well, I do have it.
Okay, I think
Um,
he's clicking on it now.
I'm sorry, this was it was 3110, correct?
Correct.
Okay, 3110.
Media, municipal governance / senior
Yes.
citizens.
So
Yes.
the first paragraph.
Hold on, Ivy. He's going to click on it. Go ahead, Trustee
Can you
Warner.
see it?
You haven't opened it yet.
I have opened it. I am sharing my screen. Can you see my sharing?
We see board docs. We don't see,
don't see it.
whatever
No.
opened up.
Okay, so.
Probably unshare and then reshare. It just didn't go to the new link or new tab.
Share screen. Let's see if it's this. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
There it is. Okay, so Ivy, go ahead, go through it.
Well, actually, Ivy doesn't have this.
Okay,
is
we can see it. So, all right, thank you, Ivy. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
It's more helpful.
That's all right. Okay.
Thank you.
So you see here, this is how it looks when it comes back to us from Erie One BOCES. So if a line is through it, it's what they're taking it out. They're recommending that comes out. And so you can see, like, for example, in the second paragraph, they took out mail and put sent.
Right.
So that's how you read this. So you can give you a minute to look at the changes.
Yeah, it looks like there's no. It's all slight language.
Yes, slight
changes.
language changes.
There's nothing.
Except for all statements of the board will be released through the office of the superintendent and/or district clerk instead of released to the board president. That's substantive.
Okay.
Mhm. And that's recommended by Erie One BOCES. These are their recommendations that are there. Yes. And
Okay.
so this is where the board has looked at this, and so as council, this is what will ultimately be adopted.
All right.
May I just, in the purview of this committee and everything that we do, my concern, for the record, is the "or posted on its website" comment in the mailings being sent. Prepared and sent to each resident can be done in any way. If we post something on our website, it requires that the community come to us. And I think there's a huge distinction between having the onus for community outreach being on us as opposed to being on the community. So I'd like to just point that out.
I understand, and I the way I've taken that is just that there may be things that don't necessarily have to get sent. Like, I think we will wind up sending what needs to be sent, but there may be some things that don't need to be sent. For instance, when they say that there's a new community engagement committee meeting, the district doesn't send everybody, that. I generally just send that to people who are on there, but then it does get updated on the site.
It's purely because it's in the same sentence as the periodic newsletter. I think it's that newsletter is our lifeline to the
Lifeline to all
community.
people who are not part of social media.
Yeah, I think as an equity, I mean, we've just spoken about digital equity as well as community outreach, and the or
Oh.
posted on its website in relation to the periodic newsletter raises a big red flag for me under both of those prior conversations, just for what it's worth.
I
There's
get.
a place for the website. but-
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay, so the question would be, do we delete or post it on its website? Or you could say and. post it on
And I
its-
think we just.
And
said-
instead of or.
And we can just change it, because that's right now we do both. And so again, everyone, BOCES is saying, you know, the districts can do one or the other, but we again adopt this for us. We can change that and mailed.
Sure,
Well, they have sent, so it should be sent. And we send it via mail to each resident of the school district and post it on its website.
okay.
If we're willing to commit to that, it does solve the situation that requires a
Mhm.
solution.
Okay.
I move that we recommend to the Board of Education that the policy be amended to change the word or to and in that paragraph.
I second.
Second. Um,
Oh. You want to have discussion on the motion? Go ahead,
nope.
call it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, the ayes have it. So what's the what needs to happen and from a process?
Now you report it back to the board the next time you make your report, and then it goes into the possible, and the board says, yeah, sure, sounds good to us. And then it goes into the actual version of the policy that gets adopted.
And all the red comes out, we clean, make it one color. It's the new official policy.
Okay, I got it.
All the lining come out and it becomes what we use from here on out.
Perfect. Thank you so much. David, you can stop sharing.
So the question was, before you shared, what was it, the plan for, trustee Warner, say it again, we were looking now for what is the plan for implementing implementing the communications piece of the strategic plan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so that strategic plan is still being, the board is going each focus area. Those on the call, if you recall last meeting, we went through student success. That's the largest section of the plan, and we went page by page. So I think Trustee Maris's approach is going to be each board meeting, and maybe some board meetings we may do 2 areas because they're not as lengthy, but student success was very lengthy, and we just didn't want to put other things to discuss, to cover. So next Tuesday, the 28th, we'll go to the second section, which is infrastructure. Then after that is communication and engagement. That's the area 3. After that is safe and healthy climate and culture. That's 4. And 5 is premier workforce. So we're working through the document. When we get to communications, and that was originally just called communication, but we changed it, Ms. Ives, from that original committee throughout the process, getting feedback. It was evolved into communication and engagement, still staying true to the work. So that will define how we're going to do. I mean, that is the plan almost. It says it has activities we're going to do in there. So as you know, I have a communications committee local in the building or locally in the office that I meet with every Monday. So we're going to be taking that document once it's approved and adopted, because until it's approved and adopted by the board, technically that's we can't put anything in place. But we've been reading it and thinking about how we're going to take that and then create this plan that we're talking about here. What I want to share with you is not the plan, but it's how, as a communications team, district team, we're going to improve our capacity to do better at implementing what's in the plan. So this is preliminary. We've put together some things we're going to be attending to help us be better at communicating the ideas and activities in the plan. So I will share that with you now, just so and again, this is draft. This is, okay, let's go here and share. So this is, let me go to the very beginning. So we had a strategy meeting. And we started talking about, okay, so always, how can we better communicate the message of the district? How can we involve more of our stakeholders? These are our questions. So we were apprised of some mini vignette kind of trainings that are out there for communications teams to go through and participate in. And so we signed up. And so and here's some of the topics. And you can see they're 45 minutes. They're not long. I don't think the dates are here, but we have a description of it. So this is what they sent us. We're looking to sign up and get involved in some of these. So as we begin to develop what that plan will look like based on the activities of the communications committee who did that part of the plan, we even are better with suggestions. So we're going to be looking at this called communications vehicles. You can read it yourself, what it does as we continue to grow. Strategic plan. So right on the mark, we're right there now. We're going to review it, identify, discuss how the operation, see, there's the plan we will work on. So this training here from 8:45 to 10:30 will help us in how we operationalize that plan. So we're right on I want to show you we're right on target. Then superintendent communications and branding. You'll hear if you watch our budget meetings, some things around some of the positions, some of the people we're looking to, or how we want to brand the district differently through our own present technology department. So here's some ideas I will be able to take to that. Here it is, technology enhancements and website. So we've heard the concerns about the website. It's better. It's been improved, but we know that's an ongoing piece. So some ideas there. Then wrap up, action steps, and follow up. So this is the work of my team, and that consists of me, the PR person. We do have a PR person in the district, Jackie Burton. She's on those calls. Miguel Barrios is a parent who does a lot of works on our website, does a lot of our social media posting, does a lot of our graphics. He's on there. Steve Wilson, who is our media person who does a lot of our picture taking, videotaping, being at events so that they are publicized on the website. He does some posting as well. He does my video when I do those. And then who else is on there? I'm forgetting another person, but my technology person, David Lease, is on there because a lot of what we do connects to his work. So we looked at this agenda and we said, we need to be at these. We need to attend these. And so Ivy registered us for these, I think. They're all on different days. And so we're beginning the work to become better as a team so that we can address the strategic plan. So stay tuned for the plan that will come out of this on how we operationalize the communications and engagement in the policy and in the plan.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Iverson. That helps us a lot. I would just throw one little thing in there. This is really, really good. And we talked a little bit about it, and I'm going to remind. It would be awesome, if students had their place, in our outward communication strategy. If the more the overall community can see, what the power in our young people, I think the more that they have a willingness to
I agree.
Everything that we do in the district.
Let me mention to you, I'm being remiss in forgetting. So, we have a partnership, and maybe Ms. Ives, you may know, you may not know, under our SEL initiative, which we're going to broadening again next year around restorative justice and practices. This year, remember the SEL committee did a lot around looking at the SEL Castle standards, aligning it with our own district standards, and creating a trajectory of what SEL looks like at each grade level, around 4 or 5 basic themes. And then each school develop their own individual SEL plan. So that's in place. The next leg of this is moving into restorative practice. And here we are, Trustee Thomas, student agency, giving students agency voice. Handover Research is the partner that works with us now around the surveys that will be surfacing. You'll hear more about it around looking and getting information through surveys around perceptions from the community, from our parents and our students around the climate. And here it is. This feeds right into strategic objective or focus area 4. We're going to be end of the year with some kind of gathering of data through this handover research around perceptions of climate and culture. One of the pieces of that is going to be the student voice. So working with Handover, Dr. Macaluso and I have been meeting with them around how do we bring kids, students more into this, just not getting their perceptions, where they really can start giving us suggestions on what they would like to see. And then from that, create a nucleus of students who become part of a student advisory, sort of a council, who becomes that body who meets with, say, me every month to give us keep my pulse on what students are feeling, what students need. So that's coming as well. That's the next layer of this, having an ongoing dialogue with students through this council, through this advisory committee, who will give that ongoing input, Trustee Thomas, into the areas that impact them, that interest them, where they need support, so that they have a voice, and even some of the decision-making where appropriate. So decisions that we're thinking around, what I don't know off the top of my head, but things where they give us input around what it means to them, what they would prefer, as we're going to include them in that as much as possible. So that's another layer of this SEL coming. You'll hear more about it, everyone in the community, as we continue to build that, but that's definitely something we're also working on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Go ahead, David.
So I've seen this happen with previous superintendents at the high school level, in which a group of students would meet on more or less a monthly basis and share their opinions with the superintendent directly. And at that level, the students are able to express themselves fairly well. Is there an equivalent at an elementary school level, or how would you make that work? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so a good question. And so when we talk in the handover, right now, we're looking at the high school. We will hopefully look at a way to branch that at the lower level, but we're trying to involve Bailey and maybe the high school at this point, starting small and continuing to build. So throughout the year, we'll continue to look at it and how we can move that down to the lower levels, but it's going to be immediately working with those intermediate and high school students, getting their perceptions around the climate and culture, as well as what they would like to see, and giving them a regular voice, as well as I'm looking to not only giving them a voice, having them help in improving some of these areas, So yeah, this is putting your stake in the ground, students, and saying, how do we help the students who need support? What would you recommend? And what part, if any, can you play in that? Not giving them, don't want to put them in positions where, they could end up having a conflict with their peers, but giving them some of that agency to express themselves and to also have some leadership around making some of these changes we're trying to make, So, and, kids learn best from their friends in some cases. And, we as adults are always talking to them. Student leaders is what we're hoping will come out of this. We'll have a nucleus of leaders who are helping us change this and build upon what we're working on into the community and into our schools.
Love it. Absolutely, positively love it. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Iverson. Did you have any additional updates this evening?
No, I wanted to share this, and I knew we were going to go over the policies, and you talked about the strategic plan. At this point, no, other than the budget meetings, just to make by way of announcement, the first presentation is Tuesday the 28th, and the community can look to hear one or hear as we continue to work on the budget and present pieces of it. Ms. Raymond will be, she will be presenting that piece with support of Dr. Macaluso and I. Every board meeting, there'll be some pieces of the budget like last year that we're presenting until through this season. We're deeply involved in that right now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so very much. All right, so the next area is news, upcoming events, questions, comments, concerns. In terms of news, we did have a WISE kickoff. This again is the 50th year of WISE, and once again, for anybody who does not know, WISE started right in good old Greenburgh. So this is a program that's run all around the country, and it started in Greenburgh,
Mhm.
and it is something that the district is looking to. It was different, when I went to school, and now when we have IB, which is some of the things that related to WISE are kind of partly related to IB, but there was an event that's part of this kickoff where myself, David, did you come to the event? Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
there.
Yes, David was there. Trustee Valen, Trustee Along, all came to talk to young people and other community members as well. And WISE alumni came to speak to young people about the possibilities that exist inside WISE, to answer questions that they had around what they could be doing in their internships.
Mhm.
So we're looking forward to hearing some phenomenal stories. Some kids have some great projects coming up, and hopefully we'll be able to share some of that information, with you guys, either via this committee and or I'm not sure whether that gets done at the at the board meetings, but we'll make sure that you guys see some of the incredible things that young people are going to do. We talked a little bit about the community outreach event with that related to the. Go ahead, David.
Okay, yes, we did talk about a community outreach event that was related to the flea market, and I think I'm hearing that that's not what we're going to recommend at this point. So then the other question is, we're coming out from under COVID. The spring community outreach event used to be, there were one of two things. There was the art show, and there was the thing with the principals, right? In which parents who were looking to determine whether or not they were going to stick with the school district and wanted to see what it was like to go all the way up to the Princeton plan. You'd have the principals come out, and each principal would talk a little bit about what was going on in their school, and then they'd have a sort of a mixer in which the parents could ask questions of the principals. That
Mhm.
was, and that of course requires the negotiation of a free night for all the principals. And then the other thing that we used to have going that was quite successful that we stopped because of COVID was the student art show, in which the art teachers from every school, all the way down kindergarten, all the way up through the high school, would get their students' art together. We also had some performing artists, and we would basically, we were given access to the town hall. And on the night of the opening, we would put all our art up in the hallways. We would have live performances, poetry readings, instrumental performances, so that, not just our parents, but other people could see, what our kids can do. And then they'd go out into the halls. There'd be some hors d'oeuvres at the back, and you'd circulate up and down the halls, look at all the art, and some of the students would stand there next to their art pieces and explain what they were thinking when they made the art. So that was the art show, and that was also a community engagement committee event for many years. Again, COVID stopped it. COVID's in the process of going away. I was thinking maybe it would be better to do an outdoor event this time, so I was leaning towards the flea market thing, but that's also another possibility, and it doesn't require all the principals to be there.
Mhm.
So I don't know what you were thinking about in terms of doing a spring event. Did you have any thoughts?
You asking me or David? Trustee Thomas.
Trustee Thomas.
I did not have anything specific. I would love, I love to hang out with people. So, what I mean? I would be interested in us putting something together. The things that you just mentioned do sound like they're incredible. Obviously, we'll need to have some collaboration with the district to make any of those things come to fruition. So I think I'm not sure, I guess this is the place to have the
Yeah, and those things.
So you want to think about it a little more and come back next meeting?
Yes. Well, the board will hear more
now, so we've got to start
right.
moving. Yeah.
So remember when you and I, Trustee Warner, you were on that subcommittee of the strategic plan of the board, and you met with me, and the three board members met with me, and the three
Yes.
of us, and we worked through all of that level. And you brought back some feedback around these programs being in the strategic plan, remember?
I remember talking
Okay.
about having an event. Yes.
That's right. And they were put back in there. They're put in the strategic plan. So
Mhm.
they're in there, which says they must be done. They were going to be done. So it's coming back. And when you hear more about, some of the budget things that we're talking about, we did fold those things back into a position so that we can assure that these things happen.
Would you like to say a little bit more about that?
No,
Or you're
not
not able to say a little bit more about that yet.
No, I'm not. Not yet, but I just want you to know, we heard that. And I know that's what the communities missed. There were some activities I know that happened that everyone wants to come back. District-wide that celebrates art, music, the sciences.
Mhm.
Um,
Science, yes, we had
It was all-
we had a
all-
spring science
mhm.
fair that went for a while. There
We
used to be-
folded that into where we know that so we can definitely have those things resurface. So, and because it's in our plan, so what's in our plan, we must do. So, talking around it, little things, but know that that's been heard and there's more to come.
Is that for this spring or once the plan
No,
is adopted?
next spring, probably.
Okay,
Mhm.
so then what are we going to do this spring? That's the
Mhm.
outstanding question,
Yeah,
and maybe a topic for our next meeting.
okay, we can
Our
do that.
next meeting, we don't meet that often. We're running out of time if we're planning a spring event.
Yes, it's all true.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose at the next board meeting and or in new business, I'll bring it up there for the entire board to have a discussion around, and we can move towards start adding some specificity to what it would look like to have.
Yeah, and I'll give it some thought too. Okay.
Okay, so we'll go out and do some research. So I'll check with the town hall and see if town hall is in fact available. If we decide that COVID is not that big a concern anymore, and we can go back to having an indoor event, I'll check on that.
Okay,
All right.
That's Sarah Bracy White.
all right.
And in terms of strategic plan status, that Dr. Iverson has alluded to a number of things there this evening. Anybody who is interested can go take a look at our last board meeting, which was the 7th. It was a very lengthy discussion around student success. But I think it's something folks would want to take a look at. There's a lot of interesting things came up, and we are most certainly moving the ball. And in our next meeting, we will continue to do so with many of the other areas.
Yeah.
Anybody want to mention anything else on that?
No, that's the plan.
I want to bounce back to the WISE 50th anniversary, just to save the date, coming April 25th. I've been going to weekly WISE 50th anniversary meetings, and basically we negotiated that there's a donation coming from the town of Greenburgh for a couple of signs to dedicate the driveway leading up to the high school as WISE Way. In honor of WISE, and that'll incorporate in. You'll be passing by the WISE Fitness Trail on your way into the high school and see WISE Way. We're hoping to plant a tree because you're close to Arbor Day. There's supposed to be a plaque, a daytime celebration involving the students, a possible evening celebration that may involve the WISE alumni who should come back for the event. Again, that's April 25th, 2023. And you can contact Elizabeth Huber at the Woodlands High School in order to get more information. That's EHUBER at greenburghcsd.org.
Okay.
And David, would you say that there are any calls to actions right now? Anything specific that folks that we want to ask of the community?
It's a mural committee. So there are people who are designing a mural to be put up at Woodlands High School in honor of the 50th anniversary. And I guess if you have any art talent, that they may be looking for some volunteer labor to put that mural together. I think it's pretty much paint by numbers. They design the small thing, get approval for it, and then make it enlarge. So I know about that. But as far as I know, You can also talk to, Elizabeth Huber will allow you to talk to Dr. Fritz or Charlene Vasilevsky, and they are working on the upcoming celebration if you want to volunteer for anything.
Got it. And then one thing I would also just mention related to WISE in general, like if there's anybody who's hearing this and they're like, wow, I would like, to have an intern, there may or may not be somebody available for you, this year, just because a number of the students have already chosen their projects. But please, we want to hear that stuff on a regular basis. We want to know what's available so that we can get that in front of the folks who do run WISE, so that they know, oh, wow, imagine what it would look like next year if we have 40 or 50 opportunities for students to kind of choose from, and I think that would be kind of an ideal situation. So if anybody's hearing this and knows of any internships in the well, I'll ask that question, and I don't know, I didn't ask it that Friday. Does it need to be in the area? Because like I used to go to the city, but I feel like the adjustment of WISE doesn't necessarily lend for that type of thing at present.
We have been assured that transportation will be made available in terms of a small bus. I know we had staff problems before, but I think the fact that you're not perhaps at that point in time where you're doing the morning or the afternoon run means that they can get a small bus going, and we can do the transportation passes. So I remember back in 2010, I had a student who went into a Major League Gaming internship in New York City and basically rode the train in. So I've seen that. I've seen people make arrangements to go to more local places. Yeah, we can do it.
Okay, all right, got it. All right. Does anybody else have any other news, upcoming events, questions, comments, concerns that they want to speak to this evening?
If I may, I have one quick thing. Hi, Giovanna. I have one quick thing that I just want to call the community's attention to. I was at the PTA meeting for Highview this weekend at the library, and County Executive George Latimer and Town Councilwoman Ellen Hendricks surprised us. They were hoping to find Pamela Davis, who's currently on PTA council. They presented her in absentia with a plaque of thanks for her work in the community all through COVID, and her support of the school district all the way up to the county level. So I just want to shout out that happened and thank her publicly for her work as well.
Very, very nice.
Thank you for that, and congratulations, Pamela, from myself and the committee. So if there's nothing else, I move that we close this evening's meeting.
Did you want to say anything or just say hi?
I'm very sorry I'm late.
No worries.
I have one child that was sick here, and I was like, keeping an eye, and then I forgot about the meeting. I'm very sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. So I move that we close tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
8:33.
Yeah, ayes have it.
All right. Thank you.
All right,
See you
thank
later.
you guys.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
All right, so it sounds like we're not going to do that. It sounds like I'm going to go volunteer for the
Hello?
hello.
The meeting over?
The meeting is over. I'm
All right.
about to leave the meeting, and I'm the last to leave.
Gotcha.
Thank
Gotcha.
you.
No problem.